Time for a soccer down here 1v1, and I think it's safe to say that this is the first time that we are heading into Scandinavia for our base of operations and our interviewee. It is time to catch up on the USL Sarasota effort in League Two coming up in 2023, and we track the man down to his home country, Marcus Walfridson. Marcus, the man who's in charge of this. Thanks for hanging out for a 1v1.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited.
So I know a lot of folks want to know. It's like they saw the announcement, and it's cool for the western coast of Florida. How much thought went into this idea from beginning of whether it was sitting around a table, sitting there drawing something on a piece of paper, saying, "Yeah, I want to do this," to the announcement? How long a thought process was this?
About 2 seconds. No, so, so this process started back in 2019 by me just walking into the USL headquarters and saying, "Hey, I want to start a team." And I already looked at the map, so I kind of knew where there weren't many professional teams. And I have a penchant for Florida. I have a friend who lives in the Sarasota area, so I kind of fell in love with that area the first time I was there. And I wanted to do something. I knew I wanted to be on the west coast of Florida. And after a lot of going back and forth with the league, etc., looking at different venues and places and cities, I kind of came back to the heart, and the heart told me Sarasota from day one, and that's where we ended up. And I'm so excited.
For those that don't know the footprint and the impact that the sport has there in Sarasota, break down the saturation, I guess, of the sport there in Sarasota, just south of Tampa, St. Pete. For those that don't know geography, break down what the saturation is of the sport there in Sarasota.
Yeah, so I think the location is good because there's the saturation isn't that big, right? So obviously you have the Tampa Bay area, and you have Tampa Bay sports and the teams. So everything from the hockey team, the football team, the Rowdies in St. Pete currently, which is only like 45 to 60-minute drive depending on traffic. But besides that, in the Sarasota area and the metropolitan area, the only professional sport you have is spring training for baseball so far. I think more things will come in, but that's the kind of main points in terms of team sports, which is what makes this attractive. Because if you combine that with the fact that the area is blowing up, people are moving in by the thousands, homes are being built by the thousands and tens of thousands. The area is growing. The area has changed a lot the last 20 years. It's become a lot younger. Sarasota is known as a retirement community, and that was definitely true 20, 30 years ago. Today, it's different. The vibe has changed. There's a lot of younger families moving in, a lot of businesses coming in. You see Sarasota turning into its own, and we want to be part of that and kind of help that community come together and find its identity, hopefully around our team.
What about on the youth aspect and the high school aspect? How many young footballers are in the area, and are you anticipating every one of them knocking on your door saying that we want to be a part of this process?
Well, we can hope so, I guess, but I don't expect much. Someone once told me that expectations is the mother of all f-ups. So we don't expect anything by anyone or from anyone. But obviously, we want to cater to all the young players in the area because there's a lot of soccer players growing up in this area. You have a number of clubs that are bigger. You have some smaller clubs. But I mean, you have around rough numbers, at least almost around 5,000 young youth players in the area, registered and unregistered, obviously. So it's a huge, and you see it growing every day. One of the biggest problems actually in the county is that there's a lack of fields, that there's not room for these kids to play, which is something that we want to try to help with as well. I've got a plan for it, but I'm not going to tell you yet. We do that next time.
You don't want to break the news right now?
Not this one. I'm gonna sit on this one because it's not done yet. So currently it's just a wish, and we don't talk about wishes. We make them reality first. But it's it's a good place, and part of the reason for this club in this area is to create that pathway for these young players to hopefully be able to take that next step. And if we're lucky, one day one of them becomes a pro player. But the most important thing for me, this is from when I ran academies over here as well, is like the most important thing we do in a club in general is to take care of the people that are in the club, and help them grow. And if we can help kids, and if we can help young adults get better lives, I think that's kind of the main thing we should do as soccer people in general. If someone ends up being a pro player, amazing. That's that's a very, very thin path to travel. But the most important things, we take care of them, we help them grow, and we help them become stable, good human beings for the rest of life. They can be part of the community. I think that's what we want to do. But being able to create that pathway, making making it possible for the young kids to see the dream, so to speak. That's what we want to do.
Where did that notion come from for you as a part of your soccer framework? Where was the genesis of that idea? Because some franchise owners, they sit there and they have one vision. Other franchise owners, they may sit there and they may have another vision. When did that become a part of your football DNA?
When I played. I think that's where it comes from. Seeing coaches and clubs care not so much about players sometimes, and treat players not so good. I think I said this sometime on some podcast, some way back when I coached, that some coaches, they treat players like dogs. And so I was very determined to not do that myself when I started coaching. So for me, it's always been, when I coached, it was always about, number one, make sure that you don't ruin anyone's career. That's like the most important thing. So in other words, make sure that the kids that you train stay healthy, because if they're not healthy, then nothing else matters. If you don't have your health, nothing else matters. And I think it's exactly the same here. My job is to make sure that everyone in our club stays healthy, and then we want to improve their quality of life and stay healthy and be vigorous, and be able to go on and do many other things, right? So I think as a leader, I think that's your main job, taking care of your people, making sure they stay healthy, making sure that they have possibilities, and that they can achieve their dreams. I think that's why I started coaching. That's why I started this. It's just being able to help other people achieve their dreams.
So then let me ask you this. This is the first time that I think it's safe to say on this network where we have had someone who is on the other side of the Atlantic trying to navigate the United States franchise framework and have something online for the next football season. How difficult a venture is this for you, with an ocean separating you from your base of operations and where the franchise is going to be?
It's super difficult. And the most difficult part is the immigration aspect. So we're obviously working on that. But as you might know, it's very difficult to immigrate legally to the United States. Thankfully, I have a lot of people, good people, through my kind of time in the game, that come to know that helps out, and that do all the heavy lifting and do all the hard work over where you are. And so when I come over, I can just go around and look at the sites and talk to these people, which is pretty cool. So I'm thankful, I'm grateful that I have a super duper team that helps me out.
Marcus Walfridson, the man who's in charge of USL Sarasota, heading to League Two in 2023, hanging out with us here for a Soccer Down Here 1v1. We all have our to-do lists. And I know a lot of folks will sit there and say, yeah, he'll be here. The franchise will be online for next season. Next season will be here before we all know it and before we all realize it. And that while you sit there and you might have a runway of a certain size, that runway gets pretty short and takeoff happens pretty quickly. We all have our to-do lists. And for various people. It could be different things. It could be, could be on a calendar here on a phone, could be on, we pull out the stylus, we sit there, we write something down, we jam the stylus back in the phone, we put it away. Could be on could be on a notebook or something like that. Could be on a legal pad somewhere. Could be on the magnetized board that we have on the fridge when you wake up at 2:00 in the morning and you're getting that drink of water in the middle of the night. You sit there, ooh, there's an idea. You write it down on the fridge and it stays there so you don't forget about it. Or it could be, as you and I are talking, on this rather large whiteboard that could be one of those big 6-footers that's off to the side that I can't see, that's got a lot of lines and squiggles and directions and things like that. Where is your to-do list, and what do you think the next thing that you can cross off of it? What do you think that is?
I was just thinking maybe we should have more of the not to-do lists, right? uh, but yeah, I have them all over the place. So I journal a lot. One of the things I picked up a number of years ago is journaling. So I do a lot of reflection, take time to reflect, sit down and make sure I have my goals kind of straightened out. Because as we know, in life, things happen. So we need to constantly revisit them and go over them and kind of set our objectives. So, the truth is that they are in a lot of places. They are in a journal. They are. We have the software stuff, and you have the reminders and whatnot, and you have different lists everywhere. In terms of the most important thing that's coming up is we're going to have an announcement event in Sarasota. Where we'll bring people together. First of all, we'll bring everyone who's eager to either be part of working with the club, helping out somehow. So obviously the leadership group, but also whoever is interested in helping out. We're gonna bring everyone together in a kind of workshop style thing where we'll hammer down kind of what we need to do up until at least Easter. So that will be a really good moment for us to be clear on, make sure that everyone's on the same page in terms of what we want to do and how we want to act and how we want to treat people, because that's the most important thing. But also, okay, what do we need to do in order to get there? Okay, these are the things. Who's going to do it? So set those responsibilities and be clear about that, and make sure we have buy-in from everyone, because I don't know everything. I know a couple things, but that's kind of it. And even those I know that I don't really know that well. So we need help from everyone that's part of this to form this club and to be able to contribute to the community in the best possible way. So that's the next thing coming up, and we're gonna combine that workshop with a invitational only kind of event for 100 people in Sarasota, and we'll go out and have some fun after that, have dinner and let loose and get messed up. That'd be fun.
How much of a challenge is it knowing the impact that Hurricane Ian had on the west coast of Florida? Because I imagine that on a couple of different fronts, as far south as Fort Myers, they've been hit pretty hard. Tampa, St. Pete. I mean, you were right there. I mean, Sarasota is right there in that footprint where Ian just kind of stomped on a lot of stuff. How much of a challenge has it been navigating that?
So it's difficult for me to comprehend because I wasn't there. And I kind of, it's you can't say it, but in a way, I'm looking forward to be part of something like that. I wish kind of was there. Obviously, you don't want to be in the hurricane, but I really feel for the people that's been hit by that, and it's been for us and for our project. It's no huge things. We kind of delayed our announcement and things like that, but that's nothing in the comparison what people are going through. So it's a raw nature and the forces of nature. It's something you need to respect, and it's just tough when you're in the way. So I really feel for the people that's been have their homes destroyed, right? I mean, that's horrible, and the people who didn't make it. So you obviously think about those things. In terms of our project itself, it hasn't kind of affected it that much, just delays and stuff, but that's nothing. We're talking soccer. I mean, it's in the big scheme of things, we are nothing. So any way we can help out, we definitely want to do that, and help our community. That's all we want to do.
Because I know at the same time you're looking for a specific kind of individual, whether they're going to represent you on the field or off the field or in the community, that best represents what you want to accomplish, not just as a franchise, but as an identity and a philosophy. You're looking for specific kinds of individuals that can help be a part of the message and not just talk about the message, but represent that message in the right way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, that list is very long and it's very wide, because I think the most important thing for this club is that it is something for everyone. We're not going to exclude anyone from being a part of us. We are going to be for everyone. So whoever you are and whatever you do and however you look, I don't really care. I never done, never will. The most important thing is that we want to treat we treat each other well, obviously, and we want to help out in our community and be good people. I think that's kind of that's all you can ask. If you can be a good person and treat others the way you want to be treated, I think we come a long way.
So now it is time. I know that this is the first conversation that we are going to have of many as this continues to grow. For those that want to keep an eye on everything going on with the growth of the franchise from day one and from week one, how do they follow along and be a part of the journey?
Yeah, we are on the social medias. So we're on Instagram, Twitter under at Sarasota USL. We're also on LinkedIn and Facebook. We have a website, sarasotausl.com, where you can go in and learn more about the vision, and you can help name the team. We really need help. We have got some really good suggestions. We had like a lot of. I'm amazed of how many people spent so much time coming up with all these awesome names. It's incredible. I was up to like 1:30 a.m. last night just reading these names. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like the swordfish and the sea sergeants. That is like all these cool names. So go in to sarasotausl.com and help us name the team. And if you're in Sarasota, you should definitely get your season tickets already now. So you can do that as well on the website.
Marcus Walfridson on the other side of the Atlantic, making sure that USL Sarasota hits League Two full bore come 2023. If you ever want to come and break news, my friend, you know where you can do it. Thanks for hanging out with us for Soccer Down Here 1v1. We will definitely be circling back as things continue to grow.
Thank you. I enjoyed it, John.